What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Gotta Get Back, the Samurai Jack in review. This is the season 2 opener, guys. Episode 14 overall. My name is Kyle, your host. Welcome to Project Potter. If you guys haven't seen the show before, it is every episode of Samurai Jack is being reviewed. It's a quick recap. It's a score out of 10. It's a favorite moment, a favorite scene and a favorite character. And then some Jack facts or trivia at the end. So here we go, guys. Kicking it off. We start off season 2 with a bang. Jack is running around. It's like immediate action packed. And I could tell right away, like the production value from season 1 to season 2. Season 1 is gorgeous, but you can just tell there's that little extra oomph for season 2. So Jack's running around and he's immediately fighting the Aku beetles. And just like the coloring and like the textures are just a little bit different. Like everything is brighter, everything pops a little bit more. You can just tell there was like they were getting comfortable with the style. And they didn't have to rely so much on like different aspects that they were relying on in season 1. And in season 2, they were like, all right, we know the show's a hit at this point. We're going to keep going with our journey. And the writing is better, I think. The production value is better. Like everything, I think, is better in this one than probably anything or close to anything we saw in season 1. But it just has a different feel to it. So Jack is going through like kind of like a desert area or like a kind of like a wasteland area, and he's chopping up Aku beetles left and right, dude. He's slicing them up with a sword. So same old business. But he gets to another magic portal or time portal, and at this point I'm thinking like, dude, how many time machines or how many portals to the past are in the future, and why are there so many that exist? Because there's been at least like 4 now. I don't know, but basically there's one. It's like, just basic design. It's almost like a curve shape and then like a swirling like blue and white light. And Jack is going out there and he's running there. And of course, right at the end, Aku is there. And Aku shows up and he's like, foolish samurai warrior. He's like, your plans are foiled yet again. And he goes to like pick up the portal. And he's messing with it. Jack like tries to reach it. And he's like, this is out of your reach. And he's like, he just keeps like bringing it up like, if you ever have like a ball or anything and you're holding it up from a shorter person, Aku's mess with them and he's like, oh, samurai, yet again you fail. And it's cool. It's a cool shot of Jack like on the ground, exhausted, and then like Aku like spiraling, turns into his bat and takes the portal away. And poor Jack is like, man, time and time again he fails. So he keeps going on his journey. He's going through the forest now, and he's got like a nice chicken that's cooking over the fire, and he's just fending on his own. Obviously he must have eaten all the sushi that the people on the sea gave him. I forget their names already, but Jack's going to eat it, and then all of a sudden we see like a figure in the background jumping around. So this man hops down and he's wearing a toga, and he takes Jack's chicken and he starts running, and he's like atop the treetops, and Jack is pissed. So dude, he's like, that's my food. He's starving, I'm sure. And he's like, no one takes my food. So he starts following the guy, and he's like running through the branches, and he's like determined. He's looking up at him. This dude's like going from tree to tree. Reminds me of like the Ewoks a lot. And so he finally catches up, and he's like, who are you? And he's like, I am man like you. And he's like, what? I've never seen a man fly. And he's like, no, I don't fly. He's like, jump good. And he jumps like all the way up to the moon, and then all the way back down, and he like lands perfectly. And Jack's like, you jump real good. And he's like, he does like this call or whatever. He takes Jack with him basically back to their tribe. And it turns out he's just hanging out with a bunch of gorillas, which are like white with blue coating on here. The sound is excellent in this episode, because so they're coming down like one by one. And like every time they plop in, it's like dink, dink. And then there's a bunch more. It's like dink, dink. And it's like, it's just a nice little effect where I was like, oh, it's got this like kind of whimsical little feel. And so these are all like cute little gorillas, and they're all like happy to see Jack, and they're playing with his hair and stuff. And he's like, oh, he's like, how do you communicate with them? He's like, were you like, did you grow up with them? And he's like, well, I was raised by them. He's like, I used to be part of a different tribe. And we get a flashback scene. There's like a destroyer, like an excavator. And it's just like literally just like a huge machine, but it's got like a mouth on the front. And it's just devouring trees left and right, just like completely destroying the forest. And, spewing all this toxic smoke out of the top of there. And there's like a robot bug or something. Like, it's just one of Aku's things again. And he's got humans enslaved once again. they're wearing chains around their neck and they're all tired and they're pushing this like this wheel with spikes around it. And the man we see over here, he is like a little kid at this time, and he's like small enough where he can get out of the chains, which seems like they should have checked that first. And there's like a little monkey, one of the little gorillas. He goes over and he's like, he just escapes and like no one notices, and the machine just keeps going. And I was like, I think you would have seen him escape, but that's okay. That was a little too convenient for me, but he gets out, and then he's like, yeah, basically I was raised by them, and he's like, they all jumped good, so they taught me to jump good. And so they're all happy. They're eating. They have all these fruits and stuff, and they're eating with their mouths open, which is gross. But Jack goes to like eat, and it's really hard. And then the man shows him like pull the string or whatever, and it's like the plant opens up. It's just like this tiny seed, and Jack's like, all right, it's better than nothing, I guess. And then the birds fly up, and that means like there's danger coming. And he's like, we must hide, danger. And Jack's like, dude, I'm just chilling here. He's like, I'm gonna eat this food. I'm not afraid of anybody. And so these big gorillas come up, the other tribe, and they're like, coated in red and like this kind of like faded red. And they're just like, they have like an evil expression, and they're eating everything, and they're just like, they're taking everything. And he's like, Jack's like, excuse me, that's not your food. You need to leave, and I will not hurt you. And they're like laughing at him. And then he's like, all right. And he takes that bamboo. We don't see Jack's sword. And so we're wondering like, where is Jack's sword in this time? And I don't know what happened to it, but I don't know if we'll get back to that. Because he has it in the beginning when he's fighting Aku, or fighting the beetles. And then when he comes here, he doesn't have a sword. So I don't know if he just put it down or something. I would assume not, because it's his magic sword. So, but he's fighting everyone with bamboo, and he just like kicks these gorillas' asses, dude. It's really cool because he's just like swinging it around and hitting all of them like everywhere. And he takes out literally their whole tribe. And the like blue gorillas are all like, oh my God, like this guy's our savior, similar to like any other tribe that Jack goes to. And he's like, why do you not defend what's yours? And he tells him like, we are peaceful like a flower. He's like, we don't fight back. He's like, but they take everything from us. And Jack's like, how about this? He's like, you teach me how to jump good, and I'll teach you how to fight, and you can defend your land. And they're like, oh, perfect. And so then there's this great sequence where Jack is like, training them like how to set traps, and they like dig holes in the ground, they put leaves over it, and then again, super Ewok. And again, every time, I didn't notice this the first time, but every episode I'm watching of Samurai Jack, I'm like, dude, Genndy loves Star Wars, because he's just taken everything. Like, this is straight out of Return of the Jedi, dude. The Ewoks, like, he's got like little rocks they set up there, and they kind of take the Ewoks and they fight with the Ewoks, and it's doing the same thing with the gorillas here. So they set like nets, and they're covered in leaves and stuff, and just a whole bunch of stuff, rocks hidden behind. There's like slingshots basically made out of bamboo. So it's all like really well done. We saw a little bit of this when Jack was helping against the beetles in episode 3, the first fight, where he told them like how to build things. And when Jack was like, I guess every tribe that Jack goes to, he kind of does this, where he trains them. He helps them out, and they help him in return too in some way. And so there's like a montage too where he's like going with the bamboo stick, and he like spins it around. It looks sweet, and then they all just do it in unison. And like the first try, we're assuming that took multiple tries, but they're not going to spend. It's only a 22-minute episode, so they're not going to spend a ton of time, perfecting that. But so Jack trains them to fight. They're good, and then they're going to teach Jack how to jump good. And so they tie like these huge boulders to his feet and his arms, or his legs and his wrists really, and then a giant boulder on his back, and he can like barely move, and he's sweating, and they're jumping by, and he's like, he almost wants to like give up for a second, but he's like, no, I'm gonna keep going. And he like goes up this hill slowly, and then like eventually he just shows him like getting stronger and stronger, and he's moving quicker with it, and it's really, really cool. Eventually he's like moving great with it. So it's like he has extreme weight, and then he just gets used to it over time. He's like jumping through the trees and stuff. And then they take off the boulder at the end when he's done with his training, and he jumps super high because he's so used to that weight. It's like in DBZ, dude, when Goku has the weight clothes, and he takes them off, and he's like, oh, that's much better. It's really like the same thing. So Jack jumps up. It's a really nice like montage where he literally goes like up in the clouds, and he's like so happy, and he's going through like the different trees. And they're like, all right, we're good to go. And so they like kind of sleep off the night. There's a bunch of fruit there. They wait for the red gorillas to come, and then they're like, it's time to fight back. And these red gorillas, dude, they thought it was easy pickings. Dude, they get their asses whooped. So like we talked about before, there's a trap that goes up where they fall into a trap and they sling them away. There's like rocks, huge boulders that are like stuck behind a hill, and then as soon as they get in position, they let those go. So those all like crush them. There's a huge rock that crushes one gorilla. Definitely has brain damage. Like that gorilla is done. And then they just like lower them behind the tree where there's like a slingshot that's held back and it like slashes them. There's like a hole in the ground that they put earlier where they put like a huge like lion or whatever in the bottom, and so it's like chasing them around. And Jack is like really impressed. They do like a tabletop move on one of them, dude. It's like WWE, but they have the trees like bent back so that they run into the trees and the trees fling them away. Yeah, they just absolutely like came prepared. And then they take the bamboo sticks out and they start like throwing the fruit at them, and then like hitting the gorillas with it. They get them all tied up. And then the man goes over, shoves some food in there, and he's like, oh, you want some more food? Here you go. And then he says, like, never come back here. And then they let it go, and those gorillas are gone, dude. And it's like sending a message, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's an awesome sequence where basically they triumph. We see a really cool shot. It's just like a horizontal shot. We haven't seen this in Samurai Jack yet. It's not like a vertical shot, not a horizontal shot. The horizontal shot we've seen, the vertical shot we have not seen. It's Jack walking off as he usually does, and I was like, okay, cool, that's where the episode's going to end, because that's the Samurai Jack ending. But no, we cut back to an updated scene or another scene with a bunch of destroyed beetles, and Jack has his sword, and he sheathes the sword, and guess what? He's back at the magic portal, and like Aku must have moved it, so he goes running towards the portal, and Aku shows up again. And he's like, oh, Samurai. He's like, you never learn, do you? And he's like, once again, this portal's out of your reach. And he pulls it up. And then Jack jumps super high. And he's like, you can fly. And he's like, no, jump good. And that's how the episode ends. Okay, guys, for the magic sword, it's got to be the gorillas and then the man. I don't know if he has a name, but yeah, it's this man and the gorillas, their tribe. Super cool. I mean, the fact that like they learned how to jump super high, and like Jack said, you can fly. And he's like, no, jump good, jump real good. Well, yeah. And then that's a huge thing that Jack learns. Now he's much stronger. He's trained so well. And so like Jack might not be equipped to take down Aku at this moment, but he learned a huge trait. And now when Aku like goes to bring it away, he's like, now jump good. And then that's how the episode cuts. So we're like, is Jack gonna get the portal? I don't know. But yeah, that whole sequence where we've seen it before, where Jack takes on a tribe who's being bullied or being enslaved or whatever, and he teaches them to fight and he helps them and he frees them, and then they say, we're going to help you, we'll be your allies. That's like the Samurai Jack formula. But it was just nice to see that like Jack got something out of this. Like it wasn't just Jack helping and moving on. It was like Jack gets an actual skill from this, and that he can use anywhere, and I'm sure we'll see down the line. So that was cool, and something he needed, and something he needed to kind of overcome Aku. But the tribe gorillas and the good gorillas and the blue gorillas and the tribe man, I guess, they get the magic sword for this one. A Portal in Time, guys, it's that really cool vertical shot at the end where, yeah, like I said, Jack, they kind of take down the bad gorillas, and then with what I thought was the final shot, it's just that vertical shot of like the forest and Jack, and it's a really skinny bar. But it's not even centered. It's like off center. And I was like, oh, this is really cool that they didn't do like the triple shot. We saw some triple frames in there, some horizontal frames, the standard Samurai Jack stuff. But this was cool because this was a new shot we hadn't seen before, at least through 14 episodes. And I was like, oh, this looks really cool. And Gendy's kind of still playing with the different frames, you can tell. So that's got to be my favorite shot of the episode. For a score for this one, guys, this was a really fun episode. Like I said, the production value and I think the writing and the comedy was much higher than in season one, even though season one had some really good episodes. With that being said, because I'm kind of scaling all of these or grading on a curve, for this one, I'm going to give it an 8.7. It was a really fun episode. I enjoyed it. I thought the comedy was good, and the overall story was pretty like good guy versus bad guy, like we see, but and we've seen that kind of Jack helps a tribe or something before, but I just like that Jack got, like I said, that skill that he needed. So he's going to carry that on, and that will come over. And just like the fact that we got Jack failing, I love that it came full circle in the end. So we had Jack failing in the beginning, being thwarted once again by Aku and being like, man, is this dude ever going to get back to the past? Then him helping out the gorillas and then being like, oh, I can use this to actually fight Aku. And so then he goes back and Aku is like, not again, or not this time or whatever. And he's like, oh, actually, dude, jump good. And it's like, so I just thought that was great. And it was a good ending to the episode and just a strong, especially the sound, like I said earlier, sound was excellent. Like when the bad girls came in, the music was like pounding drums, and I was like, "Oh, this is cool. This is like an action movie." And then like, yeah, just the little moments where the gorillas are all dropping down, and it's like ding, 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 ding. It's like, that sounds dumb, I'm sure, but I just really enjoyed the score here, and I thought overall it was just a really good episode. All right, guys, in season 2 we are kicking off. Unfortunately, there is no Jack facts for there's a season 2 opener, but I'm sure there will be some to come. Nonetheless, a good episode, but sadly, no Jack facts for this week. Okay, guys, well, that's it. That's another episode of Jack Facts. Wow, not Jack Facts. Excuse me, got to get back in the swing of things here. That's another episode of Got to Get Back, guys. Episode 14, the season 2 opener. Thanks for checking out Project Potter. Go check out the other content on the channel, but stick right here for the Samurai Jack and review. This will be posting every week here, guys. I really appreciate the support. Like, comment, subscribe, ring the bell notification. Project Potter is just going up and up and up, dude. So super, super thankful. Thank you guys so much for the support. I'm having a blast doing this and watching this great show. So there's more to come, of course, lots of content to come, guys. So yeah, until next time, guys, got to get back.